Peterbot has just switched to a new stretched resolution, and the reason behind it is pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm on 1750. He explained that he'll be using a stretched resolution on and off during Season 1 and 2, but when it's time for LAN tournaments, he'll switch back to native resolution since stretched isn't allowed. They'll stay on stretch. Yeah, I'm staying on stretch for the whole year, I think, until the last I'm going to play stretch for Chapter Season 1 and 2, and then I'm going to switch off for the third one and it'll be get back to normal on native. Before LAN, he's also updated a ton of new settings in Fortnite Chapter 6. Yeah, Peter definitely does not have an armor simple edit, and finally, he's made some much-needed setup upgrades. And it's about time too. It's a little broken here. Look, I can fix it right now. If we start off with Peterbot's new stretched resolution, you'll all know that he was using 1720 by 1080 for quite a while. But as of recently, he has slightly bumped it up to 1750 by 1080. The reason for this change comes down to the Chapter 6 update, where hit scan has now become standard, and because of that change right there, I'm pretty sure he has decided to increase his resolution to sharpen the visuals just enough, but also keep that stretched resolution feel. However, with this new resolution, it doesn't feel too different, too native, which, like I mentioned, he will eventually return to when it comes to LAN events. So I believe the perfect resolution is 1750 by 1080, as you get a nice FPS boost. But most importantly, it makes the player models look bigger, which can make aim and feel a lot more easier and consistent. Now, if you do want to try a stretched resolution for yourself, there are 3 different methods you can use, all of which I go into a step-by-step tutorial in this video on screen, which I'll have linked below. Interestingly, though, I'm certain that Peterbot is using method 1 and 2, and the reason for that is because if you go into his chat and type in this IDAL display, a direct link to my video, where I explain those exact methods in detail. By the way, if you do want to stay updated with Peterbot settings or any of the settings of the top pros, you can check out my website, gamesettings.com. It's the best place to find updated pro settings gear, breakdowns, and so much more in one spot. As for Peterbot's video settings, full screen window is used as his personal preference. But he does make sure to enable this optimization setting inside of the Windows graphics menu to ensure he doesn't add any additional latency, making it feel just as good as it feels on full screen. As for his frame rate limit cap, that is set at 240 FPS paired up with a 240 Hz refresh rate, even though he's using a 360 Hz monitor that'll go into more detail later. Now you may be wondering, why is he using 240 Hz if he has a 360 Hz monitor? And it's due to the 240 Hz being standard practice. At LAN events, tournament organizers don't currently provide 360 Hz monitors, likely due to them being expensive and not everyone has access to them for practice. So it's really smart for players like Peterbot to use 240 Hz, even though their monitors are capable of much higher. He's essentially getting himself warmed up for a LAN environment. As for his rendering mode, he is using performance mode because it does massively increase visibility while boosting FPS. A turn literally every pro in the game is also using performance mode. He also chooses the low meshes option over high due to the lower quality, giving them a slight FPS boost, and the difference in debris animations same goes for his textures. Those are on low as the reduced quality does boost FPS when it comes to his brightness. That's on the max 150% to enhance visibility. This is especially beneficial when it comes to spotting enemies through the storm for his colorblind mode. That is off, and you can see why when I compare them all in Chapter 6 for his view distance that's on far due to the fact you can see both items and builds from a much longer range without much FPS difference. However, do be aware that this doesn't affect seeing players no matter what. View distance. The player visibility is still around 280 meters furthermore to help him see enemies easier and also increase his visibility. He is using custom NVIDIA settings in the past. He's revealed on stream that he's using a digital vibrance of 70%, which enhances the game's colors, making everything brighter and more vibrant. As for the rest of his NVIDIA settings, I think it is safe to assume that he has also optimized these to not only boost his FPS, but to lower his input delay. As inside the Manage 3D settings, you've got options like low latency mode. I explained this exact setting and the rest of them in this video on screen, which you'll have a link to in the description below. For Peterbot's game settings, he's got disable, pre-edit option turned on. Auto-confirm edits is on edit due to it being slightly faster than having it off. There's a clip of him himself admitting this on stream. But if you want more detail, you can check out this video. I made all about it. As for new simple edit settings that make obviously edits very simple. He does not currently use those as they are disabled in tournament play, and I'm not sure he's even a fan of them for his mouse sensitivity. His X and Y are still on 6.4%. His targeting and scope sensitivities are both on 45%. Then both his building and editing sensitivities are on the default 100%, with his mouse DPI being on 800. Even though a lot of you think he is using a high DPI, his mouse poll rate is on 1000 Hz, which I explain why later. Just below that, you've got his movement settings, which to many people's surprise, he is still not using diagonal movement. He's literally got this off to prove it further. You can see in his stream commands. If you type in this command, it states just that for his HUD settings, these are pretty much standard. He hasn't really changed in much. He's got cumulative on hit only. I think his scales are maxed out, and he's got his HUD scale on 75%. If you didn't know already, there's a bunch of benefits to using all of these settings. And then we've got his audio settings where he has his sound quality on high, his 3D headphones are off, and most importantly, he's got his visualized sound effects turned on, which gives him a huge advantage in-game for Peterbot's. Keybinds, they do look really chaotic at first glance, but if you take a look at his exact keybinds on screen right now, you could argue that they are actually more optimal than you think. As for performing all the important tasks, like building editing, pulling out his pickaxe, and using his shotgun, he can essentially do all of these while moving in every direction. For those curious too, he is using the Windows 11 operating system. And I think it is fairly safe to assume that he has optimized his settings, which I have also got a full entire guide on that I made recently, so we'll leave that in the video description as well. Moving on to Peterbot's setup. What's surprising about this isn't the top-tier PC or monitor, it's his very cheap $59 Walmart chair, while most pros can easily spend over $1,000 on high-end ergonomic chairs. Peter decides to keep it simple. Then we've got his desk too. That's another cheap $49 Walmart. Special, as you'd imagine, it's as basic as it gets. But it clearly works for him. So who are we to judge, even though it's cheap? And he does definitely have the money to afford better things. However, the interesting thing here is when it comes to actual gaming gear, Peterbot doesn't cut corners. His monitor is the Zoe XL2566K, a very expensive and high-end monitor. This monitor does give him a pretty significant edge with its DIAC technology that reduces motion blur, making it easier to track opponents during fast-paced fights. The monitor itself also has these thicker bezels that apparently reduce reflections. Yes, it's small, but it seems to be an intentional design choice to minimize distractions. What's pretty cool is, unlike most pros, who use dual or even triple monitor setups, Peterbot uniquely decides to stick with just one monitor. I think this is definitely a deliberate choice, as it looks like he's replicating a LAN setting, but at home where focus is just everything even. When he streams, I'm pretty sure he just pulls up his phone for the chat for his gaming mouse. He's using the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2, a lightweight and reliable choice that supports up to 4000 Hz polling rate. However, Peterbot did mention on stream that he is using 1000 Hz too. I use 1K as well. 4000 Hz can offer slightly lower input delay. It's no secret that it can unfortunately be quite demanding on the system and can sometimes cause lag spikes, so to keep his game consistent and basically prioritize stability, Peterbot chooses to use that 1000 Hz option. Another thing as well, if you take a closer look at his gameplay, you'll notice that Peter uses an uncommon grip style called the 1-3-1 grip, where he places one finger on the left side of the mouse 3 fingers on the top, and 1 finger on the right side making some sort of spider-like claw grip. Now, even though this does look crazy and probably not normal, it actually does have its benefits with this exact mouse. Grip It gives him constant access to the scroll wheel, which is essential for executing the quick wall reset in Fortnite. For his mouse pad, he's using the Game Sense Radar Benji Fishy edition in the large desk mat size, and that's known for its smooth, glide, and balanced control. It also seems that this is not his only Game Sense radar, as he's been seen using the radar. 4mm at lane events for his headset. He's using the HyperX Cloud phase, which he did upgrade from the previous Cloud 2s. If you guys remember, those are the broken pair that he showcased in a setup tour for his keyboard. He's still using the Apex Pro 10 keyless with the wrist rest. I believe this is the 2019 version. This Key B